Hello guys, I am back with a brand new interview, and it's only best I say this line. Submitted for my guest approval of the Midnight Society, I call this chat an interview with Jason Alisharan, was this? Sorry.
It's good. That works.
He played the character of Frank in the Nickelodeon classic show, Are You Afraid of the Dark? This is my second interview with a cast member because I also did Ross Hall, who played the character of Gary, which was also the original head of the Midnight Society. But Jason, how are you? And welcome to, and thanks for joining me here today.
I'm good, James. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I had to write down quite a few questions last night because if I look slightly off screen, it's because I'm looking at these.
No problem.
But I'm actually surrounded by a lot of stuff that I own, so I might show off a bit of these. Well, how long do you have? Do you have about an hour?
Say that again?
You have about an hour?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, exactly. That's fine.
Okay. I'll just go for my collection first, and then we'll go for the questions. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. I'm going to show. I got my collection in a bit of a wrong order because you was only in the first 4 seasons.
That's right.
I'm going to show the seasons that you want in first, and then up to the ones that you were in. So my collection of season 7. This is the standard. Well, this is the official Canadian release because they didn't have these in the UK, so I had to import it.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing for season 6.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Season 5 was it was a US Amazon Burn on Demand version, so that's what it kind of looks like this. And now for seasons 3 and 4, and on the cover there you are.
Oh, there we go.
There you are at the top. But back when the show was on, on TV. The pilot was The Tale of the Twisted Claw.
Mm-hmm.
But on the DVD set, so when it was reruns, the first episode was Frank's initiation story, which was The Tale of the Phantom Cab.
That's right.
And I loved that story. It was your first episode, and it also has the recurring character, because there's 2 recurring characters in the series. There was Sourdough, which was Gary's, and Dr. Vink, which was yours. So it was his first episode as being in a story, and it was your first episode as a storyteller.
Yep.
But my favorite 2 episodes in here that had Frank as the storyteller was season 1 was The Tale of the Phantom Cab. But my absolute favorite in this is sorry, there's 2 seasons on this set, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
1 and 2. So it's the Phantom Cab for season 1, and my absolute favorite on this set was The Tale of the Midnight Madness.
Sure.
So I absolutely love that one because you're a big fan of movies on that show, and it's about
It's like a Nosferatu sort of.
Coming out of the theatre screen and going into the real world or into the theatre, and that's been my absolute favorite episode for the whole time I've been such a fan of the show.
Wow.
Actually, that episode, to be honest with you, is the episode that got me on to enjoy becoming a big horror fan.
Wow.
So it's thanks to you and that episode. And so yeah, that was
that would be classic horror. It's because the demon, the Dracula, it's Nosferatu, which is one of the first horror villains, really, I think it's from the 30s. So it makes sense that you got so into horror as a result of seeing that.
Yeah, and mainly I do like a lot of vampire movies as well as a result of that one. And then we have the last 2 that you were in, season 3 and 4.
Sure.
Season 3 was I got a question here about season 3's episode as well, which was The Tale of the Dangerous Soup.
Yeah.
I'll get to that. And Your last season was season 4, but my favorite episode in season 4 was the two-parter, where I had the two storytellers come into it, because it was Gary and it was your character. But it come together because it had the best of both of you. Both Sardo and Dr. Vink was in the story as well. But it was a good tale, and I think it was the first time ever in the series that two storytellers came together. But those are my collections, and I still absolutely love the show today.
Great.
Before I go on to my list, because I got still over 2 things here, there's books that you were interviewed in as well.
Oh, sure.
Matthew Cookstein's Slimed, which covers obviously a lot of other Nickelodeon shows, but there's a big part in here about Are You Afraid of the Dark, and a lot of interviews with the cast as well. So I got that book. And just recently, it came out on Halloween of this year, the Jose Prendes Are You Afraid of the Dark Campfire Companion.
Nice.
So I'm actually still reading this at the moment, but I'm up to The Tale of the Last Dance, so that's coming to the last of the series, up to season 7 now, so then I'm going on to reading the interviews after. But that's my DVD collection and my book merchandise to go with it as well.
That's awesome.
But diehard fan of it. I still watch it when I want to rewatch the entire show again. And if I fancy just watching like a few episodes, I go straight to my favorite ones, like The Tale of the Phantom Cab or Midnight Madness. I also like, I think it was told by Betty Ann in the season 1. It was called, what was it? The Tale of the Nightly Neighbors. It was another vampire tale. I'll go through my questions here in a second.
Sure.
First one is I didn't know this, but when reading the book, the Campfire Companion, I found that your brother Kyle starred in the episode The Tale of the Quicksilver.
That's right.
Was that the only episode he starred in?
My brother was in, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only. Of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah, that was the only episode he was in.
Yeah. Was he in anything else, like any other films or TV shows?
He was on. There was a show in the United States on the network called UPN called Breaker High that starred like our young Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
And Tyler Labine, and my brother was a series regular. They did like 44 episodes. It was Semester at Sea on a Boat, basically. And so he did that. And then he's done little episodic stuff. He actually has a small role in the movie Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that on TV a few times.
But like myself, we, it was something we enjoyed acting. We did that when we were younger and we were in high school and a little bit in college. But then after we graduated from university, we sort of stopped. So, yeah.
So you have been acting for quite a while because you're with you've got your own production company. How long have you been working with that for?
At my company or just in Hollywood in general?
Both.
At college, I worked at a talent agency here in Beverly Hills called Endeavor, and then I started working at DreamWorks in live action. Yeah. I was there for a while, and I worked on a bunch of movies while I was there. And then I went to work fashion designer named Tom Ford and produced his first film. It was called Single Man with Colin Firth and Julianne Moore. And then shortly thereafter, I started my own company. So that was like 5 years ago that I started my own company.
I think I read on your website that you produced Red Eye, which was.
I didn't produce Red Eye. I was working at the studio, so I worked on the film, but I wasn't producing the movie. I was just working on it.
Okay, yeah, because I saw that one. I thought it was a pretty cool horror film.
Yep.
Yeah. The Tale of Orpheus Curse was a video game based on a series. Did you have any part in that?
Yeah, I was in it. I've actually never really seen the video game. I know when we were shooting the campfire scenes, we shot stuff for the video game. Like they had like little scenes and we did things, and they shot it, and I guess it's in the game, but I've actually never played the game. So, but there were little vignettes, little video inserts, I guess, in the game.
Yeah. Have you seen my interview with Ross?
Yeah, I saw some of it. Yeah, it was great to see Ross.
Thanks. That's good. My next one is Frank's recurring character in the series was Dr. Vink. Did you ever get to meet the actor who played him, Aaron Taggart?
Yeah, like just briefly once. I think he was coming in for a fitting. You know, we were shooting and he was coming in. I think I briefly saw him and said we met, and that was about yeah. So I met him once.
Yeah, because I'd say the same question like I did with Sardo and you know, Gary's character.
Yeah.
Because in one of the episodes, I forget what one it was. I think it was the Tale of the Super Specs. That it was the beginning of the story. He was sort of like in his dad's store.
Yeah.
So he was kind of saying that off screen was the character of Sardo, played by Richard Dumont. So he said he got to meet him as well. So I thought I'd say the same question about Dr. Vink with your character.
I did meet him.
Frank's. Oh, I just did that one. Sorry.
Is there?
Were you ever recognized in public from being on the show?
Oh, sure. Yeah. A bunch. I mean, I guess I did Are You Afraid of the Dark between the ages of 14 and 18. And so this show came out in Canada, which is where I lived. And so, yeah, there were a lot of people that, yeah, for sure. A lot. Definitely.
How long since you've been living in LA? Because you're from Canada.
Yep. Yeah. I came to university here. I came to California in 95. I've been in Los Angeles since 2000.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Been quite a while then.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love it here.
Yeah. Do you own the DVDs of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I have, you know, I don't. I have, like when I worked on the show, I had them make me a bunch of the cassettes. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, I would just ask editorial and they would give me certain episodes, like ones that I was in or episodes that I kind of was interested in. So I have them. They're in a box. I mean, they're on VHS. Yeah. So they're in a box somewhere.
Old school VHS.
Yeah, but I don't have them on. I don't have them on DVD. I've seen them. I mean, I've seen them like on Amazon and whatever, but I don't. Yeah. I don't have them.
When was the last time you watched the episodes, and you know the ones you were in mainly?
I think when I first started seeing, my wife and I got married in 2013. We met in 2001, and I don't think I showed her any of that stuff until like 2008. So maybe like in 2008, I might have like, because you know you could just like look it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, so probably, I'm sure one night I just like YouTubed something and showed her. You know, I mean it's fun because you know I was between the ages of 14 and 18. So you know one day it's great you can show your kids. You know, like this is what you looked at that age. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it's been a while.
Just get this thing here. I always wondered about how the Midnight Society segments were filmed. Mm-hmm. Like how the storyteller knew so much about the episode that was about to happen. What went into how did you like how was they made? Like were the actual episodes shot before the Midnight Society scenes, or? No,
we shot all the campfire scenes for the entire season. We'd shoot them all at this concurrently. So it amounted to like 2 months worth of work a year. So we would just all go. And Ross was from Montreal originally, and then he moved to Toronto. So we would just go to, because Montreal's where we filmed. So we would be there for like a month or something. And we would literally shoot all the openings and closings, like back to, you know, just all of them. So by the time, by the time they were shooting the campfire, they'd already written all the scripts for all the episodes, all 13. So, you know, a lot of the times, I mean, it would depend on the scheduling, the film schedule. Maybe they would have shot it. It wouldn't have mattered. We wouldn't have seen them anyway. But what ended up happening is if you were telling the story, you'd end up reading the episode, obviously, because you have to know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know? But you just, you know, like, and they would send us the scripts. Like they would just, I mean, before we would shoot the campfire, you just get like this huge box and they'd be like, here's the whole season, I mean, of stuff. So you knew what was happening. Like, you know, you just read the scripts and you know what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a favorite episode from the ones Frank told? And did you have a favorite episode in general?
I think in general, obviously my brother's episode, like, you know, that holds a special place in my heart. I think as a storyteller, I think the episode I enjoyed the most was the shiny red bicycle. It's a story of the kid who like loses his friend and like the friend, you know, and it was in a very emotional story actually, and a very sort of, and a heavy subject. I mean, the death of his friend. I mean, it's kind of, and I think I'd actually heard, I think M. Night Shyamalan had ripped off one of the Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes. That's how he actually wrote The Sixth Sense. Like he took, have you ever heard that? Where it's like, I can't remember which episode it is. No. But it's partly inspired by one of them where he took the concept and this sort of, you know, that's how he came up with The Sixth Sense a little bit.
I've seen The Sixth Sense and enjoyed that, but I never knew it was kind of connected with the show.
In terms of my favorite episode, one that Frank told, I think like the one Midnight Madness I liked. Dark, is it Dark Music? Is that the one? Is it the one with Neve Campbell? I think is pretty good. I like that one.
The Dangerous Soup.
Dangerous Soup. Yeah. I mean, look, Frank didn't tell a lot of stories, so you know. But yeah, those I think Midnight. You know, now that you bring it up, I think Midnight Madness would be the one I like the most.
Yeah. Well, for me, I find it so nostalgic, that one, because like when it was on TV, I can like remember the sort of time, you know, when it was on and that. Because when I watched that episode, I grew up not with cable, and so my screen's froze. Are you okay?
Can you see me?
Yeah.
I still see you.
Okay. What was I saying? Midnight Madness I saw on a station here called CITV. Sure. And it was a British station. Mm-hmm. And then when I got cable, then I watched the rest of the show on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I've got the episodes. The Tale of the Dangerous Soup was about fear. Frank admits that he's afraid of the dark.
Right.
Frank admits he's afraid of the dark. But my question is, Jason, are you afraid of the dark?
I don't think so. I think there's other things I'm afraid of, but the dark's not one of them.
I mean, I just thought of that question. I thought it would be a good way because your character I know, but not you in real life, you know. So I thought that'd be a good thing to put in a clever way. Season 4 was your last series.
Yep.
Were you written out, or did you want to leave?
No, it was a little different than that. I was entering my last. It was either my junior year of high school or my senior year of high school. I can't remember which one it was, but it was basically like, it was a time where like, you know, I was trying to get into university. It was like academically was a very sort of rigorous time for me. And so obviously, look, I'd done like 4 seasons at that point, and not that I really did enjoy doing the show, but obviously I had other priorities just in terms of my schedule. And so I think I had a really good relationship with DJ McHale. And so I just had, I think I had, we didn't have email in those days. I had either called DJ or had written him a letter, and I said, look, you know, I'm so appreciative to be a part of the Are You Afraid? Like, it's amazing. Like, I love doing it. And I'm not like trying to be a diva or like anything like that, but just know, like, look, I have priorities in terms of like my school and stuff like that. So if you're doing scheduling and like you can shoot, because they would always like figure out when they were going to shoot everything, right? Like when they can shoot the episodes, campfire, whatever. I was like, if you can make it work like in a certain window in terms of when you can shoot the campfire, then in certain times, I can totally do it. And if not, like, I can't really do it. But it's not like, you know, I didn't want there to be, I really like DJ a lot, you know, and he was really cool about it. And he was like, yeah, let's try to make it work. And then like, they just couldn't make it work with scheduling. So then it was like, you know, it wasn't it was literally that. It was nothing more or less than that. So that was it. Yeah.
I might question down here, so I'm gonna have to try and think hard about some. Do you speak to any of the original cast members now, like these years later?
I bumped into this is a while ago. I bumped into Joanna Garcia once in LA, and I was friends with Rachel Blanchard, but this was a long time ago. And then Ross had actually reached out to me more recently. But aside from that, like, I mean, Rain, I haven't seen in 20 years. Jody, I haven't seen in 20 years. Daniel, I haven't seen in 20 years. Jacob, I haven't seen in longer, you know, so Nathaniel Moreau, you know, so like, no, I mean, I would say no, actually.
It's like the biggest, most the time you knew each other was from that show then, isn't it? And then like, they like all drift apart.
Well, I think it's also, you know, it's obviously these shows, you know, which is awesome is they have a reality in the minds of the audience, and the audience has a relationship with these characters and like creates their own history and backstory in terms of how the characters are. But again, and we're acting, but we're also just people. And so there's a lot of time where there's like downtime, you know, like so Jody and Rain were from Montreal, and then I was from Vancouver, and then Rachel was from Toronto, and Ross was from Toronto, and Daniel was from Toronto. So we all the people from out of town stayed in the same hotel. So we spent time together. Like we hung out. There were a lot of times where we weren't working, where we spent time together. So what's interesting is that you can have a certain reality on the show in terms of like who you get along with or who you like character wise, but then in your own personal life, like you might be like friends with so-and-so, you know what I mean? Which from a character perspective might be totally bizarre. You know what I mean? Like, obviously like Frank is a very sort of like angry, weird kind of guy, and Jason is like not like that at all. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was really good friends with like Joanna. Like Joanna and I spent a lot of time together. You know, Rachel and I spent a lot of time together.
What did you enjoy about playing the character?
I think it was fun because Frank didn't really tell stories. Frank just sort of like messed around the campfire. Like he was always doing something stupid, basically, you know? So, I don't know. I think I just enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed the people. I mean, you know, DJ again was like a really talented guy, still is, and just a really nice man. So I think in terms of that experience was great. And the cast, you know, were really nice people, and I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah.
I found that in the series, when the character Sam come into it, was that played by Joanna Garcia?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Both your character and Ross's liked her, but Sam didn't like Frank. So at one point in one of the episodes, she actually pours over the water from the bucket onto his head.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think Ross managed to take the glasses away from the set. Did you manage to take anything away from the set while working there?
What do I have? I mean, I do have I have the show, the episodes, and then they had, the one thing they had made, they had like jackets. I think they still have a jacket, like a crew jacket. I think one of the cooler things that I have from the show is in the United States, they'd done a promo with Apple Jacks. And so they'd done trading cards for Are You Afraid of the Dark on the Apple Jacks boxes or whatever. And so there's like there was an actual cereal box that actually had my face on the back of it. So that's like a fun keepsake. And I actually have it framed. It's like in my hallway. It's actually funny because that came out. I was off the show when the Apple Jacks thing came out. It was my first year of university, and I hadn't done the show in like a year and a half. And I didn't tell anybody. Like when I went to university, I didn't tell a soul. I told nobody about it. And then we went on spring break, and I came back from spring break, and one of my friends came to my dorm and had like the Apple Jacks box and like slammed it down on my desk and was like, "What the hell is this?" What, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, that was I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I took anything away.
What was your job after leaving the show, after university?
What was my job?
Yeah.
Well, I think I told you I worked at. I was an assistant. I worked at a talent agency in Beverly Hills, and then I was a junior executive at DreamWorks, and then I was an executive, and then I was a producer, and that's what I do now.
So, do you go back home to Canada now and again, or do you?
Yeah, my parents live there, so I try to go back at least once a year to Vancouver, and yeah.
I like Christmas times and stuff, or
yeah, or at least just to see them at some point. I normally go in the summer when it's nice, or they'll come here. We see each other a lot, though.
That's good. What's happening here? My Skype's starting up for some reason.
Oops.
That's okay. So, what's your I'm trying to think now because all my questions are all set. I got some. I'm sorry, it's just seeing what I can think of there. Do you watch any of the episodes that were like later seasons that you want in?
Honestly, I didn't. Yeah. Bad. I didn't. I honestly, I might have like turned it on, or I looked like on YouTube. I think you can like, and I would see like Ross or Daniel like when they were older, and I was like, oh, that's cool, But I don't think honestly, I didn't. I think once I left the show, I don't think I watched it at all.
Just go to my Skype off a minute because it's interfering.
Sure.
That's better. Yeah, because I have Skype as well because my brother lives in Arizona.
Oh, cool.
And so we use Skype to like stay in touch by video calling.
Nice.
But when I'm doing like I do a series every now and again with a friend on YouTube. I hang out like this, and so when I do like one-off interviews as well, like this one, I got to turn off my Skype because otherwise it interferes. Or if there's a call coming through on there, it might make this go slow. And for some reason, it just turned back on for some reason. Something spooky like that. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Something. Yeah, but I don't know what happened there. So, was Are You Afraid of the Dark the only acting job you did, or did you do anything else?
I did, and then I was on my brother's show. I did like the last episode of his show. It was actually the last. Yeah, it was the last episode of the series actually. And what else did I do? I did a movie on Showtime called The Halfback of Notre Dame, which was like a takeoff on the Halfback or the Hunchback of Notre Dame, except it was set in high school.
Okay.
What else did I do? I think that's it. And then yeah, because that was actually because I did the movie for Showtime. I did after Are You Afraid? Because it was the summer before I went to college.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went to college, I really stopped acting really. And the only thing I did was my brother's show, and I didn't even audition for it. They were just like, "Hey, we're gonna do an episode where Kyle's character has his brother visit." So it was like, of course, like and I had actually I had auditioned for the same role my brother got. Like it was like down between the two of us. So it was very, they were just like, "We wrote this episode for you to do." And I'm like, "Okay, let's fine." So that was it.
Yeah. So, what do you prefer? Do you prefer what you're doing now? Do you like acting as well? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I loved acting. I thought I was going to be an actor. The only reason I didn't do it was because I didn't like the lifestyle. The idea that you wait tables and you go to acting class and you go on auditions, and I also knew that to do it properly after college is you really had to give it like 10 years. You had to like really devote time. So like I'm graduating from university, I'm starting at 23, but I also knew enough about the business where it was like, it doesn't really matter how talented you are. Like luck plays like and luck and timing play like a huge role. And so I realized like I could be 33 and then starting a career then. And I was like, so what does people have always told me, they say, look, and I believe this from knowing a number of very successful actors. People always say, look, if you're the kind of person where like acting is like the only thing you can do, only thing you want to do, like, you should do that. You should be an actor. If you love acting, but there's just like one other thing you want to do, you should do that other thing. And I think that's true, and so for me, it's not, I do love acting. I did love acting, but there were other things that I wanted to do, in terms of storytelling, in terms of, what I do now, which is making movies, writing screenplays, bringing content, whether it's a TV show or movie, to the forefront. And, so I think that my background's been great in acting has been great because I can talk to actors. I understand them. I understand where they're coming from. I understand their process. So I think that's been really helpful because I think a lot of producers don't have that experience. But the way I sort of liken it, people always ask me, like, especially when I'm making movies, and they're always like, well, don't you want to be in the movie? And I'm like, no. And they always say, they're like, well, why not? Like, you were an actor. And I was like, yeah, but like, that's just like saying, you were a really good high school basketball player. And they're like, you should play in the NBA now. It's like, no, I mean, yeah, I was a really good high school basketball player, but it's like, I can't lace it up with the Lakers. Like, I'm going to make a fool out of myself. I haven't acted in 20 years. Like, I have too much respect for the craft of acting.
I mean, it's 25 years since the show you feel about finished, but I think more since your character came out of it.
Yeah. I think I was 17 or 18. I'm 39 now, so it would have been 20, 20, 21, 22 years, 21 years.
You're 39, I'm 32. I was born in 1984.
Yeah, you were in the sweet spot for the fan base. You were in the exact age group that people that love the show. I have friends obviously that are your age. There was a friend of mine, he was dating this girl, and I never told them anything. And then we got to talking about it, and she's 32 as well. And she loved the show too, and she had no clue. You know what I mean? But yeah.
But I think it's like it's better being that, because that way you can watch it like really earlier on. I mean, also they don't make any shows like Are You Afraid of the Dark anymore. I mean, like Goosebumps, that show was on around about the same time as Are You Afraid of the Dark was. I mean, I like Goosebumps as well, but not as much as Are You Afraid of the Dark, because it had that difference to it. Because with Goosebumps, it was just a show where you go into the episode and it's just a story. But with Are You Afraid of the Dark, you had that whole campfire part at the beginning and end, And that kind of, for me, made it a lot more special, because it was a group of kids, you know, a group of friends from different schools coming together for that particular meeting around the campfire. And the only reason they come together was to do the stories. And I thought that was really great, and I still do now. It just is much more kind of the way it was done was more interesting to me than Goosebumps was.
I think it's a testament to DJ McHale. I mean, at the time when the show came out, one thing that was different about it was that it was a show that was targeted to what was called tweens. So like not teenagers and not kids. So like right in the middle. So it was like targeted like 9 to 13. And that's it's an underrepresented group. And then I think the pitch of the show too, which was like Twilight Zone for kids, it was like an anthology series, was a cool sort of new pitch. But I think beyond that, DJ, and there's another producer named Ned Kendall who sold the show to Nickelodeon and Cinar. They took it a number of steps further. You know, DJ was always, you really should interview him like that. That's who you should reach out to, because if you love this show and whatever, like it's his show. It's like, it started with him, it ended with him, it's all him. He knows everything. It's from his brain basically. So
I was trying to talk to DJ at some point.
What's that?
I was trying to talk to DJ at some point.
Yeah, you should. You should just like email him politely like you did me, and then you should even put like a link in. You should put part of my interview in Ross's, because then he might be like, oh yeah, like, you know, it's totally normal. I mean, you're a really nice guy. I mean, I get these all the time, but you wrote a very nice, you know, message, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. That's totally cool.
Thanks. That's cool. Thanks.
No, because I mean, there's not a week that goes by that I'm not getting something on Facebook. Like it happens. It's like all the time.
You get messages.
But yeah, in terms of the show, so there were a lot of things. So DJ, they went back to like a lot of like old mythology. Like we talked about Nosferatu, and there was like a lot of different stories that like from even classic literature that they like tried to thread in. I mean, there were other things too. Like this was way ahead of its time. But like they decided to cast like different ethnic actors. Like they would cast like a mixed race family. They'd like have like an African or a black woman, black mom, and a white dad. Or like this was 1992. This was like way ahead of its time. So there were a lot of things that, you know, and again, it's a testament to DJ that he took on to make it different, to not pander to kids, to give them something different and special and something that he was interested in. And I think that really resonates because, again, it's 20 years later, and there's people like you, there's a lot of people that really do love that show. There's a lot of shows that we grew up with as kids. I don't know if they have the same lasting legacy that this show does in terms of its fan base, in terms of, you know, it's akin to the X-Files. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those shows where people like, there's a small group of fans, but they're like completely rabid about the show.
Do you like the X-Files?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I mean, my first ever interview I did was with another Canadian actor, and it was the guy who played Langley from The Lone Gunman, Dean Haglund. He was my first ever interview.
Cool.
I'll have to maybe email you the link one day, so maybe you could watch a little bit of it.
Sure.
Yeah, that was my first interview. Then it was Ross, and then now it's you. So you're my third interview altogether.
Great.
But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I never knew. Yeah, let's see. Back when growing up, watching the show on TV and watching it since I got the DVDs and stuff, I never knew that I'd ever talk to any of the cast from that show. And then, like, being such a fan as I am, you know, the books and the DVDs I showed you earlier, and then suddenly I'm now talking to two of the stars from it. I thought, my God, this is awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you don't think sort of that like that. You know, when you're growing up, or you think you're watching it, you just think this is a TV show. Or, you know, at the time as well, I recorded it. You know, growing up, And I thought, that's all it is. It's a TV show. I'll just enjoy it and that. And then I go up, I get the DVDs because it came out on there. And then, to my surprise, I'm talking to some of the stars from it as well. And it's, to me, at the beginning, I thought it was quite mind-blowing. But I think now, because I'm very grateful to this, you know. And actually, the Ross, when I did the Ross, it was thanks to, you know, Matthew Klickstein, the author of Slime.
Oh, cool.
Because I bought the book on Amazon, and you know it came through when I read it. I went onto the Slimed website for the book, and there was like I guess Q&A, like frequently asked questions where if people can try and get in contact with some of the interviewees. And so I didn't know how to contact Ross in any way, so I contacted Matthew for the book, and he said he'll contact Ross on my behalf, and if he says, you know, yeah, sure, no, you know, if he says that's okay, Matthew could contact me back saying that Ross will email you in the next day or week or so.
Great.
And he sent me an email February of this year saying, you know, Matthew says that, you know, you'd like to interview me based on my work, and are you afraid of the dark? And I said, yeah, so we'll organise something, and that's how that one took place. And then I was thinking a little later on, could I interview anybody else from the show? And I was thinking, who else would I like to interview? Right? And then I was thinking, I've done the one that does the Sardo stories. Now I like to try and do Frank, who does the Dr. Link stories. And then I thought, but how do I get in contact? You know, how do I find? I was first thinking, should I do the same way and contact Matthew Klickstein and do the same thing as I did? But then I typed, I think, your name on Google.
Mm-hmm.
And came up with your movie production website.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just emailed you how this one took place. This one's all thanks to you. It's not thanks to, well, you know, it's thanks to Ross and Matthew, the other one. But this one's entirely thanks to you. So, you know, thank you.
No, I mean, look, I got your email. It was very nice. I mean, again, I get a lot of these, and I ignore a lot of them. But you know, you were very considerate. You wrote a very nice email, and then you included the Ross thing. I mean, and I think you should do the same thing for DJ, because I think, and include both interviews, because then, you know, it shows you're like, not to put it crassly, but they're like, hey, this guy's not crazy. Like, he's just a nice guy. He's a fan. He's smart. You know what I mean? Like, I think that goes a long way. I mean, you know, so I was like, yeah, no problem. Sounds great.
I mean, I was, you know, when you say about tweens, when you're like a teenager and you're watching the show, I'm thinking, should I show it to my niece? But maybe she's too young. She's 10.
Well, I think that's also what people, I mean, I don't know, you know, but I think that's also, again, I was a little bit older. I mean, not to say that I am proud of the show. I think as shows go, like, to be a part of it was like amazing. I don't know if my own tastes, if I wasn't on the show, if that would have been something I would have watched, also because I was a little bit older at the time too. But one thing, when I talked to fans of the show, what was always great is they always felt that it challenged them, that even if you were 10, it was like a little too scary. It was scary enough, but then it would go like a little bit further, but not. It was, so again, I think, again, it didn't pander to kids. It pushed the envelope, you know. I think they did a really great job of that. And I think people responded to it.
I should also say to the viewers watching as well, if then either watching live now or afterwards, because this when we're off air, the interview will be recorded to watch later, and I should say that I put Jason's links, like, to his website, production website, and Twitter account is in the links below, so they can go over there and check out your links and check out your website, and you know, just to link them to you, really. But yeah, I mean, I think, do you think that it passes a lot of people, some fans by, and then they don't sort of I mean, hardcore fans enjoy it to the extent I do, and they're still fans today. And through it all, they get to speak to the people from the show. Do you think there are people it passes them by and they don't like bother with watching it again, or?
You mean the people that were fans of it when they were growing up?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, look, what is really I find astounding about fans of the show is that not only are they passionate about the show, but what is really neat is how they liken it back to their own childhood. They're like, look, this was a really big part of my childhood. You know, whether I watch the episodes now, and some of them do, there's nothing wrong with that, or don't, nothing wrong with that either. But they say like, this was a really important part of my development and my childhood. It's a really great memory that I have. That's really cool to hear. I mean, again, I wasn't a creator of the show. DJ was. I was just an actor. You're just a vessel. You're just like saying these lines. I didn't create, I'm not writing the show, So, I mean, again, I think it's a testament to DJ that what he did was different and it really resonated with people. And it's even now, it's 20 years later. When was the last time the show was on? I don't even remember,
Oh, well, I think there's like a channel from Nickelodeon called The Splat. I think they're doing reruns on there.
Cool.
And I don't have the station, but I've heard that it's on that. I mean, I don't have it, but I do have the DVD, so I don't need to watch it on TV.
Nice.
Do you think it'd be cool to have a convention of Are You Afraid of the Dark, where like fans could get to meet the actors and that sort of thing? Or
yeah, there's somebody. There was a woman who contacted me. Well, it's kind of been a couple times, but there was a woman who was doing some sort of like horror fest something, and it was at a convention center, and I actually said yes to it because I live in Pasadena, and it was at the Pasadena Convention Center. I could like walk to it, you know what I mean? So yeah. I was gonna do it, and then I actually couldn't do it because I had to go out of town, sort of unexpectedly. But I don't. So I think I don't know if it was a convention specifically for the show, but she was putting together a panel or something like that. I don't know. So I don't know. You'd have to reach out to Jose Prentice.
Yeah.
Maybe you would know.
I think I got in contact with Jose, and he said that maybe next year I'll be able to contact him about how he worked on the book and that. That'd be cool. I think I'm trying to look for every possibility to do with Are You Afraid of the Dark, because it'd be good to try and talk to all these people that was like involved with the show and like the actors. I mean, maybe a lot of other actors are maybe still acting. Like I was thinking maybe like Joanna Garcia or the one who played Kiki. I forgot her name. Judy. Like all the other ones like that as well. I think that if they're still busy, then it might be a bit harder to get in contact with them.
I think people are always. I mean, look, you have no control over whether somebody's going to say yes or no, but I think you never know. I mean, if you're polite and forthcoming, and you never know. You might as well reach out. It doesn't hurt. Who knows? So yeah.
I mean, that's what I did to. I went through, as I say, to Matthew for Ross, but I was thankful for that to both of them, and I'm so grateful that I managed to interview him as well. And thankful to you, and I will be so much thankful to if I get into contact and maybe do DJ or any of the any of the other casts as well.
Yeah, you should try. I mean, look, Ross doesn't surprise me. Ross is a really nice guy, so that does not shock me in any way, shape, or form that he would be, amenable.
When was the last time you saw Ross? When on a show or any time after?
I haven't seen him in 20 years. He reached out to me on Facebook recently, so that was that. I appreciated that. And then and there was like a time when like it was an Entertainment Tonight Canada wanted to do like some sort of retrospect, and they contacted me. It was going to be in Toronto, and I wasn't going to be there, so they ended up doing it. I think you can Google search it. It was like Daniel and Ross, and I think that's it. I don't know.
I'm following Daniel and Ross and DJ. I think, but I just need to try and contact him for maybe an interview sometime. But I don't know. I think.
Any other questions? Anything else you can think of?
Trying to think. I was thinking about maybe like I don't know if there is, but do you think there's any other more merchandise out of the show other than the books and the DVDs?
I don't know. Maybe on eBay. I mean, maybe there was stuff from before that they sold. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if you did, like, maybe on eBay, like, I mean, I don't know if they make merchandise now for it, but maybe there's like stuff back in the day. I have no idea. It's possible.
I was thinking of a question earlier and I completely forgot it. Sorry.
No problem.
If they don't have they don't have any shows. They don't do any shows like You Fear the Dark anymore, and I'm kind of saddened by that because I think maybe kids of today might not enjoy it, or maybe they might get too scared by it.
You mean anthology shows, or do you mean shows that are targeted at that demographic?
Yeah.
Which one? I mean, look again. Are You Afraid of the Dark was literally Twilight Zone for kids. That's exactly what the pitch was. And so, other anthology shows, like one of the best ones now is called Black Mirror. It's a British show. You know,
I'll check that out. I'll try and check that one out.
If you like horror, the storytelling is excellent. It's an excellent show, and it's same concept. Every episode is its own unique little story, and I've seen a couple episodes. It's phenomenal. It's a terrific show. For kids, you know what? Even in my own business, I don't know anything about that. I don't know what shows they make for kids now, how that works. I know Nickelodeon in the United States is basically out of business.
Yeah.
Because Netflix has put them out of business.
I just remembered something good to say, actually. What's your favorite type of movies?
Me? I mean, look, I'm more of a genre movie guy. I mean, in terms of the movies, I mean, look, I love movies. I watch all sorts of films. I think for me, I mean, in terms of the movies I develop, it's very, very much genre. So it can be anything. It'd be romantic comedy, thriller, action, whatever, across the board, horror. I mean, as long as, I love storytelling. So it's really about how good is the story and how good is the craft of the storytelling and things like that. But so it's like if you love music, you know what I mean? You love all types of music, basically.
The first ever movie I think I saw when growing up and when I was old enough to see a movie was Ghostbusters, the 1984 classic.
Awesome.
And I grew up on that, and I absolutely loved that. I mean, I was born in '84. I was being too young to watch it back when it came out. But so once I saw it, I loved that one. And Ghostbusters 2, even in 1989. I think it may have not had, it didn't do well maybe at the box office, but I loved the second more.
Don't watch the remake. It's terrible. The Paul Feig one with Melissa McCarthy is just, the remake is so bad. Oh. They should never, you can't remake Ghostbusters. It's a classic.
What's your favorite out of the first two?
I don't remember the second one. I mean, I've seen the first one more recently, and I even when we develop movies, because we end up studying them, and some movies like Ghostbusters, like we study them and we use them, aspects of them where we're like, we're going to try this, so I'm very familiar with Ghostbusters, the first film. Mm-hmm. I don't really remember the second one all that much. But the first one's a classic. It's terrific. It's so great.
So what are you working on at the moment?
I have like 6 different movies that they're still writing. It's across the board. I can't really talk about them because they haven't hit the market, so I can't, from a concept standpoint, just because people steal ideas, I can't pitch you. I mean, if it'd be different if we had, if I had like a movie at Universal and I told you what that was, then that would be different. But
where are you speaking from now? Are you speaking from work or home?
This is from home.
Mm-hmm. So is your work and home local, or do you like drive to work?
No, I like to walk. I don't live. It's not that far.
Yeah. I think that's. I'm all out of questions almost now. But my last thing is nearly. It's gone on for. What time is it there, by the way?
11:47 a.m.
And it's 7:47 p.m. here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking to you from the future.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, look, in closing, I would just say, look, it was a great experience. It was just like it was an important part of your childhood. I think working on the show was an important part of mine. I was between the ages of 14 and 18. So,
yeah.
And it was a big deal for me to be on the show. I think it worked out perfectly because it was the only show I could have been a series regular on and still like live a normal life and have a high school life, as opposed to, a lot of time with actors where you're on a show and then you don't get to go to high school. You're like on, so I was really excited at the time, but I got to live a normal life. Mm-hmm. And I think that
I just remembered as well. The show was great, but there was those sad moments, when there's a character of the Midnight Society leaving. I mean, like your character, I thought, I mean, no more Frank stories. I mean, that was kind of a shock. But then, you said you had to go on and do your university and stuff afterwards. And life.
Well, in fairness too, I mean, like even if I had done like a 5th season, I couldn't have done any more. Like after that, I would have been in university. Like I couldn't have, it's different in high school where you can kind of like, and I missed a lot of school. I mean, I missed a lot. I remember missing a lot of school, but like in university, there's no way. Like I would have stopped. I wouldn't have been on the show. It would have been one or the other. And so, but look, for me, it was a great experience. It does feel like it's funny when people like bring it up or like recognize you or something. You get an because in your mind, I'm like, that was 20 years ago, Yeah. But it's neat that it obviously still lives on because people can like put a DVD in and they're right there with you and experiencing it. And I
think the first person to lead the show was Jacob Tierney's character of Eric.
Yep. I don't remember why. I can't. Maybe Ross does. I can't remember exactly why.
And the reason of a character leaving on the show always seemed to be the same. They had to move away or move schools.
Look, the reason anybody ever left that show was always like a scheduling. Like Rachel ended up leaving the show because she was doing another project. Like she was doing, I can't remember which show she was doing. She was doing something else. So she just couldn't do the show anymore. Nathaniel left. I don't remember why. I can't remember. Jacob.
Daniel Santo, he stayed until the very end. He became the new leader.
What's that? Oh, he did.
Daniel played Gary's brother.
No, sorry. I meant Nathaniel Moreau. No, oh, I know. Nathaniel. Oh, yeah. Nathaniel left because Nathaniel went to do that show, that Kung Fu show.
Okay.
So yeah, Rachel did, this was before Rachel did Clueless, but she did another show and she wasn't available. And then Nathaniel went on to do a different show and that's why he left. So that was always, that was it. And then, I guess for the writers, they were just like, oh, so-and-so moved away. Oh, sorry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it was but it was always scheduling. That's really all it was.
I got to tell you what I hope that never happens. Are You Afraid of the Dark is such a classic show that I hope it never gets remade. Because nowadays, I think that would just be kind of silly. I like it being such a classic show.
I don't know. I disagree. I mean, like, I disagree in that it's an anthology show, and it just like a show like Black Mirror, it's the quality of the individual stories that they're telling. It's the campfire is there in that it bridges the gap between the episodes. It gives you that one thing that's a commonality. It's like, but I think again, it's the quality of what are the stories that they're telling. I think Are You Afraid did so well for so long because there were a lot of really cool stories that they told. So I think, again, I mean, look, you should check out Black Mirror. Black Mirror definitely is in the same spirit.
I think I'll search that up later on.
Yeah, it's on net. It's, I mean, look, it's a UK show. They make it in the UK. I don't know which channel it's on, but it's on Netflix. At least it is in the United States. But you can actually watch it on air.
I asked Ross this question about the setting of the campfire scenes. And I thought that it was actual like a in the woods somewhere, but he said there's actually like a studio set. And after the first season, it moved from a studio to a warehouse. But the feeling of that set felt so real, like you had the trees, you had the soil, you had the campfire. And he said though that if you look upwards, you'll see the lighting of the sets and everything. But as a viewer, I mean, let's see here. Yeah, from the DVD cover on the book, you can just tell that is an absolutely real-looking type set. I mean, you've got DJ that was working behind the scenes and stuff, but the set and the campfire, I can't see the campfire. The campfire's not there, but it's just a real-looking set to me, and I enjoyed the looking of it. Even though it was set up, I still think it was really cool and real good, like real. It looked so real.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the movie business. I mean, but it made more sense too because, if you're shooting on a sound stage, you just have more control over the variables, and then also from a scheduling perspective, what would have sucked is we would have been shooting nights. All those campfire intros, we would have been instead of shooting days, we'd have been shooting nights. So it would have, work would have started at like. Your call would have been like 5:30 as soon as the sun went down. And then we would have like been shooting until 4 a.m. And also in Montreal, it'd be cold as ball. I mean, like that would have, can you imagine shooting Montreal like in the winter? Like you can see the breath coming out,
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it was just like what Ross said. We were in an actual studio the first season, and the second season, I guess to cut costs, it was literally like a warehouse. Like it was like there were like trucks, and I always joke about it because the warehouse was like there was like asbestos. It lined like the asbestos like lined the warehouse, and they just had like basically they made this set, all these Christmas trees, all these trees, and so by the end of shooting the campfire stuff, they'd be spray painting the trees because the trees are dying basically. But it was a pretty contained set. I think the one episode where they built it out more was that episode you like, The Cutter's Treasure, where because it was a bigger episode, they shot on film. Like they shot 35 millimeter film for the first time as opposed to shooting video or whatever they were shooting before. And then they had like a crane in that episode. I think you remember where it rains and they dolly up. You know what I mean? So because they were dollying up, they needed to make the forest had to get bigger. And they're like more tree, so you could look like a forest basically.
Yeah, because they stopped the episode.
Yeah, when just because they'd spent the money on this crane, you know what I mean? So because they were going to crane up, they needed more forest, because the rest of the time you're basically shooting, aside from us entering. You're just shooting like singles and doubles. You could just basically just put a couple Christmas trees around a character and, shoot them accordingly. And the lighting was pretty static for the most part. It was,
Because the actual stories, they were actually filmed around Canada, weren't they?
Yeah, they shot everything in Montreal. So the story, like they'd shoot in and around Montreal. Basically, I think, well, it wasn't all location work, but they shot like a lot of locations. And then they used the same studio space to shoot. Like, for example, like my brother's episode, there was like, where like the room burns down or whatever, you know, they had like a bedroom set that they'd made there. And yeah, there were 2 bedroom sets they made, I think.
Do you have to be in? Do you have a least favorite show? I mean, episode. Sorry.
I think. Oh, you know which one I also really like? Was it like a prom queen one? I think I like that one.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like, that was a little bit, that one skewed. Oh, that was the other thing that they did purposefully, which is the episodes themselves, the stories, they'd skew them to an age group. Like they would go one way or the other, basically.
Yeah.
So prom queen, by the way, was like a little on the older end. You know, that was an older story, you know. But I don't know if I don't know. Like, they always tailored the episodes to each character to a certain extent. I thought some of the Betty Ann ones were bizarre, but I don't remember all of them actually. But
one of the ones that I liked that she did, is it Rain Pretty Cool?
Yep.
Did as I said, I think I said it earlier, the Tell the Nightly Neighbors.
Yes.
Where you know, it starts with where these like a family is moving in all dressed in black, and you know, if you're not Are You Afraid of the Dark fan to the viewers, watch it, okay, guys. You got to watch it because I might spoil something here, and I just the twist endings, the twist ending in that episode. You know, the neighbors finding out that the vampires, it's not actually the family. Well, yeah, it's not actually the family. It's actually their son.
Mm-hmm.
And you find that out at the very end of the episode. I mean, twist like that, and I think there's other episodes for the entire series as well. But like I like twist endings. That was kind of cool.
Oh, this is funny. I just like went on Twitter, and so I see your little post with the couch.
Yeah. That's
a funny story because the couch was part of a Nickelodeon promo. Like they were doing. Maybe it was the first year, and so they were opening up like their new lineup, and so to bridge the gap between all of the episodes, they had this couch, and so they had to fly this couch in from New York, and like it took forever because it had to sit in customs. I remember for a while. Because they were flying it like every, you know, they would like fly it to Florida for Roundhouse, and they would fly it to LA for Melissa Joan Hart, whatever it was. You know, it's pretty funny.
Were there like promo scenes, like filming, like for Are You Afraid of the Dark, that you were part of?
Jody and I had done like Nickelodeon did this thing. It was like it's like some contest where like you entered, and then Nickelodeon came to your school.
Okay.
And so it was like Jody and I went, and it was like some of the actors from Roundhouse, and then Melissa was there, and some other people. Oh, and the guy from.
Because I think you was all in your characters from the show, weren't you? I think you went as Frank.
No, we just went as like people. Like we weren't like. Anyway, it was in. I remember because it was in Denver, Colorado. We went. It was fun, but yeah. All right, man. I got to go in like 3 minutes. You have any other? Is there anything?
My ending. I have to do this bit, and then I'll end the broadcast, and then we can go. What would your as a fan to one of the actors that was in the show? What would you say to the other fans that's watching?
I mean, look, I know I was just so proud to be a part of it. I think it was an incredible show, and it was a big part of my childhood, and I'm glad it was such a big part of so many other people's childhood, and that it still has resonance with them today. And I think that the affection that they have for the show is the same affection that I have for the show, and I'm very appreciative just to be a part of it, really.
Yeah. Actually, I even feel like later on maybe watching a Frank episode again. Because I talked to the person that brought him to life.
Yeah, I think the only other thing I would say was that like I am nothing like Frank. Like
no, I can tell that now, you know. But no, it's been a pleasure talking to you and about the past of the show and what you're working on now and stuff.
Oh, and I don't miss those costumes either because it was always like a bandana and then like ripped jeans and like a tank top and like yeah. I wore some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it was a pleasure, James. You're very nice.
I'll end up a minute and then we can go.
Sure, man.
Okay, so this is thanks to Jason, aka Frank from Are You Afraid of the Dark? Thanks for watching, guys. And if you have any questions or comments for me later on, please leave them down below. But from me to you for now, guys, goodbye and take care for now.
Bye.